A very warm welcome to the YouTube channel of the Green On Academy, which is a Defense Preparatory Academy established in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Boys and girls, in today's session, we'll be talking about what are the common mistakes in thematic appreciation test. Candidates, so far we have covered the 4 stages of the thematic appreciation test, where we have learned the basics, how the thematic appreciation test works, and what are the ways and means to observe a picture to write a perfect story, followed by the classification of pictures in the thematic appreciation test. With this, we come to the present session, that is the common mistakes in the thematic appreciation test. Ladies and gentlemen, generally the candidates who are appearing the thematic appreciation test makes various kinds of mistakes. However, they can be classified under two heads. First, the common mistakes where the candidates are conceptually wrong about the thematic appreciation test, and second, where they are conceptually right about the thematic appreciation test, but however, they are not able to bring or not able to present a large number of officer-like qualities to the psychologist, which will unmask their true personality. To begin with the subject proper, it is assumed by us that the candidates who are watching this video have already undergone through our previous videos on the thematic appreciation test, wherein we are told about the basics of the thematic appreciation test, how the thematic appreciation test works for the candidate as well as for the psychologist. Third, how do you observe, or what are the means and ways to observe a picture projected on the screen or the slide by the psychologist to write a perfect story, followed by what are the classification of the picture and how a candidate must approach before writing those pictures. So candidates, let's begin with the common mistake which the candidates do again and again, wherein they are conceptually wrong about the thematic appreciation test. First, the first mistake is when the candidates do not observe or perceive the picture very carefully. They are not able to perceive the central character in the picture, or they are not able to understand the settings in which the picture has been selected by the psychologist to be presented for your evaluation or understanding the mood of the character. The next common mistake which the candidates do is to just describe the picture. And these kind of mistakes are generally done by the candidates who are new to the field of SSB interview, or where they are attempting the thematic appreciation test for the first few times, wherein they do not project a hero or a central figure. In their story, you do not find any challenge or any problem envisaged in the scene, followed by there is no positive outlook to take from the story, and they present the story as a neutral story which does not have officer-like qualities, and it is these officer-like qualities which is being benchmarked for your selection in the SSB interview. So in absence of a challenging story where there is a problem based on your personality and there is no happy ending, people will not get recommended in the SSB interview. Now, whenever these candidates are being told by the SSS that your story does not have a hero, or there is no presence of any problem or a challenge which could be magnified, followed by a happy ending, resulting in no officer-like qualities, then these candidates in their third or the fourth attempt try to invent a problem when the problem is not there. So even in pictures where there is a neutral picture, there is no problem which is either imminent or could be forecasted. They try to fit in the preconceived or the synthetic stories which they've learned from the web or other books. In such a scenario, they try to build negative stories wherein they have presumed some accident has taken place or social problem, but however, the picture does not reflect any such issues, or wherein the psychologist is trying to draw attention to the various other repressed aspects of their personality. They are trying to create a problem in the picture when it is not there. So it is advised, do not try to invent a problem when the problem is not visible in the picture. Candidates, a large number of candidates get not recommended in SSB interviews by means of their poor or bad handwriting, wherein there is a large number of cuttings or the means or whatever you want to communicate to the psychologist as means of your personality, it is not conveyed to the psychologist in the same manner. Taking further, the next common mistake is writing stories which are extraordinary or assumed to be fairy tale in nature. Gentlemen, I have already told you that whatever offer-like qualities which emerges from the thematic appreciation test, the psychologist counterchecks it from the other tests like the word association test, the situation reaction test, and your self-description. Furthermore, whenever he is checking it, he again counterchecks it from your personal information question, wherein it reveals your socio-economic background, which means a person who is from a very rich background is writing story about the miseries of the poor people and how he's handling it. So gentlemen, we would request you to write practical stories along with the workable solutions based on your age and your socio-economic background under the rhythm of inbounds or practical possibilities. Next mistake, which is very common to the candidates, but however, these kind of mistakes appear at a very late stage when the candidate has understood what is a thematic appreciation test and how you are being evaluated, what are the offer-like qualities you are supposed to bring forward. Then, in such a realm, the candidate, once he is aware of too many things, then he is confused which all offer-like qualities should I portray in a story. And gentlemen, the theme or the strategy in case of the thematic appreciation test is to close the doors or choose the best option which comes onto your mind based on your socio-economic background and your personality. So in case the candidates after even this kind of mistakes is also seen when repeaters attempt the SSB interview. They try to fit too many of the like qualities in a single story, and the story appears to be premeditated or a real story. However, the same story does not match the picture as projected by the psychologist. Gentlemen, the next kind of mistake what we commonly see is the time management challenge. As you are all aware that the time allotted for observing the picture is 30 seconds, followed by 4 minutes for writing a story each. There's always a dilemma in the minds of the candidates writing the story on two accounts. It is the qualitative assessment and the quantitative assessment, which means in order to write very good story, your content get reduced to 6 to 7 lines. And when you think about the content, when you want to write a long story bringing a large amount of offer like qualities, your quality of the story gets reduced and the content increases. So a person who wants to get recommended in SSB interview by writing a perfect TAT story, he must balance between the quantity as well as qualitative aspect once writing a story, which means your story should not be very long. It should summarize within 12 to 14 lines, followed by it should have a good quality story and wherein you should not aim to bring too many qualities. Otherwise, the story would become very long and will suffer on the quality aspect. One of the most common mistakes which we've seen in the candidates who are undergoing mentorship program with us is that they tend to write over glorified or a reward seeking stories, and these kind of stories goes against the candidate once it has been assessed by the psychologist. The psychologist assesses these kind of stories as a reward seeking stories, wherein the story ends with because of the efforts of a hero or the central figure, principal awarded him the gold medal. Or in case if he has made the hero as a sub inspector or inspector, that he got the police medal at the end. So candidates do this mistake of adding the reward as an outcome of their actions in the last two lines. Our advice to the candidates appearing for the SSB interview that they should avoid using reward seeking stories to make a perfect story. Next point we would like to highlight: some candidates use serious conclusions in their story after seeing the negative stories, wherein the psychologist would like to uh, tinder or kinder with the uh, repressed aspect of a candidate personality, like isolation, fear, courage, fear of death. So in these stories, the candidate sometimes bring come out with a very serious conclusion that the hero died in the end, or the lady fighting for the community causes got divorced from his husband, or it resulted because even though he's on the side of the right, but there was a fight in the college campus wherein he was brutally injured, or the hero was brutally injured. So our advice to the candidates appearing for TAT would be to avoid such sad or serious negative assumptions, to conclude your stories with an aim that the hero is giving 100% to achieve his aim. Now, the one maximum common mistake, or the most common mistake what we have seen, is the candidates writing 6 to 8 stories about the armed forces, be it the Indian Army, be it the Indian Air Force, or the Indian Navy. We have seen that he would like to conclude every story that he has become an officer, or he has become he is about to sacrifice his life for his motherland. In such type of scenarios, we the assessors assume that the candidate lacks imagination and creativity in his attitude, and it appears to be superficial. However, in no uncertain terms, we are saying that out of the 12 stories, 2 or 3 stories could be could highlight your aspirations, ambitions, and passions to join Indian Armed Forces. More than welcome. 2 to 3 stories, more than welcome. But when it goes beyond 4 or 6, it assumes that you do not have any imagination and you are trying to situate the story and taking it to the armed forces stories. Candidates, after discussing in great depth what are the common mistakes made by the candidates while appearing for the thematic appreciation test, wherein they were conceptually wrong in either the approach or in terms of writing the story in thematic appreciation test. Now, we'll discuss the second facet where the candidate, either the boy or the girl, is conceptually right in his approach while writing or while appearing in the thematic appreciation test, but however, they still make some mistakes. The first mistake: generally, boys and girls are built differently based on the needs of survival and because of the human reptilian brain. An average girl having an average IQ would display the following positive qualities, which would be parental care, social responsibility, social adaptability, helping nature, liveliness, and being cheerful. Whereas an average IQ boy will display positive qualities like the courage, intelligence, determination, planning and organizing skills, and physical stamina. So, where does the girl or a boy go wrong? He only displays the qualities which are inherent to their own sex. So, it is advised for the girls to display qualities of F1 and F4, which are generally inherited by the boys, and the boys should display or bring forth the officer-like qualities of F2 and F3, which are inherent to the girls, so that your overall assessment, when a psychologist is making an overall assessment, he gets or he sees you as a balanced personalities having different officer-like qualities from all the four form factors. How it can be achieved? That a candidate must try to reflect 3 to 4 officer-like qualities at a maximum in each stories, and with an aim not to make the same stories wherein planning and organization skills, determination, or intelligence is being reflected in case of boys, or the stories which are related to the social causes, family bonding in case of girls are reflected again and again. So the girl should try to make stories wherein the form factor F1 and F4 is reflected, and boys should may try to make stories where form factor F2 and F3 is reflected, so that overall when the psychologist sees you as a balanced personalities, and more or less your 12 to 15 officer like qualities comes forth after reading your stories. Dear candidates, with this we come to the end of our today's session, that is the common mistakes made by the candidates on two folds. First, when they are conceptually wrong about their observation and approach while writing stories in the thematic appreciation test. And second, when they were conceptually right and even make the mistakes. In our next video, we'll be talking about the art of writing a perfect stories in thematic appreciation test, which brings a large number of officer-like qualities to the assessor. To conclude, we would like to thank you for being with us, and we would request you to kindly subscribe our channel to keep us motivated and make new videos for our viewers. We wish best of luck to all the SSB aspirants, and Jai Hind.